Hello. Come to a comfortable seated position and just settle in to the quiet, the stillness of the practice. Just breathe. Taking a nice slow inhale, filling up your lungs and your belly, and exhale completely. As we go through this practice today, I invite you to reflect on some of your own strengths. What traits do you have that you want to reinforce and continue this year? What traits within you are serving you? What traits will serve your practice and your life off the mat? And also, if it comes to mind, maybe look at what traits are no longer serving you that you want to let go of. And can you release those traits? We'll practice on the safety of the mat. And then I invite you to look at them off the mat. So just take a moment reflecting on these traits. You might find that one of the traits that you want to reinforce is you want to push yourself a bit more. Maybe you tend not to push yourself as much or enough and you want to try a little harder. Well, try it on the mat. Or it might be something completely different. Maybe you push too hard and it risk injury. So you need to find a way to soften your practice and your approach to things. Could be something completely different. Whatever it is that comes to mind, just reflect on that for a couple of breaths. There's a lovely quote by Lao Tzu. He's a Chinese philosopher, or was. He says, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." So can we let go? Can we let go of what we are and allow space to become what we might be? The future, the possibilities are endless. Bring your hands behind you on the mat, uncross your legs, and take your feet almost as wide as the mat. Let your knees roll to one side and back to center and over to the other side. Just let your knees roll back and forth. And then back to center. Swing your feet behind you and make your way onto all fours, coming into tabletop. As you inhale, arch your back, so lower your chest, your belly towards the mat, tilting your pelvis, and look up. As you exhale, round your back, reach your spine towards the ceiling, letting your head lower. And then inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Keep moving through this at your own pace. I'll be offering you some options throughout this practice. Options where you can dive in a bit more deeply, or you can stay right where you are. And of course, if something is too much, always back off from it. Paying attention to what your body needs, what you can handle today. Whether you want to push yourself a bit more or ease off a bit if you need to. Come back to a neutral spine, a nice flat back, and walk your knees together. Bring your right knee to your right elbow, and then lower it down. Left knee to left elbow. Lower it down. Try to keep your hips more or less steady, so stable, not moving them. They'll move a little bit, but see if you can keep them mostly still. Right knee to right elbow, left to left, right, left, right, left. Just keep moving, hips stable. A couple more times each side. And then pause here. Straighten your right leg out behind you, right heel the same height as the right hip, toes pointing towards the mat. Extend your left arm out front and meet Dewey, my son's cat. Breathe here. As you inhale, round your back and bring your elbow and knee together. As you exhale, inhaling, straighten the arm and leg. Exhaling, bring them together. And lengthen together. Move at your own pace. Moving with control. And the next time the arm and leg are straightened, pause here. Lower your left hand to the mat, keep the right leg straight, and lower the toes to the mat. Pressing the toes into the mat, push the heel back. And lower the right knee to the mat, and extend the left leg straight out behind you. Adjust the left hip so it's the same height as the right. Flex the foot and extend your right arm out front. As you exhale, round your back and bring the elbow and knee together. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, bring them together. And straighten, together. Keep moving through this at your own pace. And next time the arm and leg are straightened, pause here. Lower your right hand to the mat, keeping the left leg straight. Lower the toes to the mat and press the heel back. And lower the left knee to meet the right. Walk your hands forward 5 or 6 inches. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat, and keeping your knees bent, send your hips up and back in a bent knee downward facing dog. You're aiming to have a straight line between your wrists, shoulders, and hips. Look past your hands and walk your feet forward to your hands. Keeping the knees bent as much as you need to, fold forward. Let your head dangle. Maybe straighten one leg and then the other. And breathe here. As you inhale, come halfway up. Nice flat back. Shoulders are the same height as the hips, or maybe higher if you need to. Arms land on the legs wherever they land. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. So take your feet just slightly wider than hip distance apart. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. With your left hand, hold on to your right wrist. Reach your right arm up, hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center and switch sides. Right hand on left wrist. Extend your left arm up, hips to the other side, hands to the right. And back to center. And release. So just take a moment and circle your wrists and circle your hands in one direction. And then switch and go the other way. And then stand on your right foot and come onto the toes of your left. And just circle that left ankle, pivoting on the toes. And go the other direction. And lower the left foot to the mat, come onto the toes of the right foot and circle the ankle. And go both ways. So we'll start with 3 breaths of joy. There are 3 sips of air, inhaling, lifting your arms forward to the side and then right up. In, and then exhale through the mouth, bend the knees and fold and let it go. So it looks like this. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. One more time. And let it go. As you fold forward, maybe straighten one leg and then the other. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing, hands to your heart, and release. So come and face the front of your mat. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, come halfway up, nice flat back. Bend your knees if you have to. Exhaling, fold forward. Place your hands on the mat and step one foot and then the other foot back to plank. Palakasana. You're welcome to stay here or lower your knees to the mat. Try to make sure you have a nice flat back, so you want to make sure your upper back is not rounding. Breathe. Keeping your elbows close to your rib cage, slowly lower down to the mat. Point your toes, come onto the tops of your feet, hands lightly on the mat as you send your chest forward and up. Lower down. Tuck your toes. Push your hands into the mat. Maybe lift your knees up off the mat for an extra challenge. And lift your whole body up through plank and downward facing dog. Breathe here. Knees can be slightly bent or straight. Heels may or may not touch the ground. Look past your hands and walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release. Inhale, lift your arms. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, fold forward, both hands on the mat and step back to plank. Here, maybe lift one foot up slightly off the mat. And then lower that foot down and lift the other foot slightly off the mat. And down. Breathe here. Reflect on your traits you want to let go of or reinforce. How can that help the pose right here, right now? Keep your elbows close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the mat. Point your toes, hands lightly on the mat, sending your chest forward and up. Shoulders back. And Bhujangasana. And slowly lower down, tuck your toes. Lift your whole body up through plank, Palakasana. And then up and back towards downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe here. Look past your hands. Bend your knees and either step or lightly hop your feet forward to your hands. On an inhale, come halfway up. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side all the way. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. On your next inhale, lift your arms up. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Place both hands on the mat so your wrists are shoulder distance apart, wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat, and spread your fingers wide. Bend your knees and either step or hop your feet back to plank. Breathe here. Now roll onto the outside of your left foot. Either staying here or your right foot can be placed on the mat. Lift your right arm up in Vasisthasana, side plank. Lower your right hand down, back to plank, and roll over to the right side. Lifting your left arm up, left leg can stay where it is or step it in front. Back to plank. Bend your elbows, keeping them close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down. Point your toes, come onto the tops of your feet, and send your chest forward and up. Hands just light on the mat. And slowly lower down. Tuck your toes, and lift your whole body up and back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe here. So try to take some of the weight out of your wrists. Press down more in your knuckles and fingertips. Wrists light off the mat. And support your body with your arms, your back, your abdominal muscles. Bend your knees if you need to. Nice straight spine. Look past your hands. Bend your knees and either step or lightly hop your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. So coming to the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you. Hands on hips. Bend your left knee. Have your hips and shoulders parallel to the front of your mat. Maybe deepen the lunge. Check that your left knee is pointing in the same direction as your left foot. And make sure your left knee is behind or above your ankle. If your left knee is over top, it can be a little harder on your knee, so keep it back a bit. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. And breathe. Lower both hands to either side of the left foot. Step your right foot back even further. Lower that right knee to the mat. And send both hips forward. And breathe. Walk your hands back and straighten the left leg. Flex those left toes towards you. Lower that left foot to the mat and walk your hands forward again. Lift your right toes under. Lift the right knee up off the mat. Hands flat on the mat. Step your left foot back to meet your right. And up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower both hands to the mat and step the right foot back to meet the left. And up and back to downward facing dog. And we will finish that. I forgot one portion. Step the right foot back between your hands again. And now lower the left knee to the mat. Send both hips forward. Walk your hands back and straighten the right leg and flex those right toes towards you. Lower that right foot to the mat. Walk your hands forward again. Tuck your left toes under, left knee up off the mat, and step your right foot back to meet your left and up and back to downward facing dog. And breathe here. Look past your hands and step or hop your feet forward to your hands. Inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. Take your feet about hip distance apart. Hands on hips. And bend your knees, but sit back so your knees are above your ankles, or at least not past your toes. Try to keep your spine straight. Shoulders back. Bring your palms to your heart. Maybe sit more deeply. Just knees back. Utkatasana. Toes are soft. As you exhale, fold forward, place both hands on the mat. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward, place both hands on the mat, and step back to plank. And again, at any point during the practice, knees can be on or off the mat for plank. Breathe here. And slowly lower down to the mat. Point your toes, hands light on the mat, sending your chest forward. Look straight ahead. Any traits that you want to strengthen and reinforce in the practice? Any traits you want to let go of? Can you let them go? Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Maybe you like to do everything just right, but can you be okay with imperfection? Now bend your right knee. As you round your back, bring your right knee to your right elbow. Come back to downward facing dog. Right knee, bring it forward and touch your nose. Back to downward facing dog. And now bring your right knee across and touch your left elbow. Back to downward facing dog. Bend your left knee, bring your left knee forward and touch your left elbow. Back to downward facing dog. Round your back, left knee to nose. And down dog. And left knee over to your right elbow. And back. Breathe here. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. On an inhale, reach your arms up. Maybe deepen the lunge. Bring your palms together. Twist to the right and place your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Right elbow comes up. And now, can you twist and bring your hands to the center? Back to center. Lower both hands to the mat and step your right foot back to meet your left. Up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your left knee and step your left foot forward between your hands. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. In Warrior One, maybe deepen the lunge, maybe straighten the back leg. Bring your palms together at your heart. Lean forward, now twist to your left. Right arm comes to the outside of your left leg. And then try to bring your palms to the center of your chest. Back to center. Lower both hands to the mat. Step your left foot back to meet your right. And lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Can you keep your wrists light? Bend your knees as much as you need to. Maybe straighten your legs. Look past your hands. And step or hop your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Inhale your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Knees are slightly soft. As you exhale, send your hips back and fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. Bend your knees and step or hop your feet back to plank. Roll onto the outside of the left foot. Lift your right arm up. Option to place the sole of the right foot on the left calf. Back to center to plank. Roll onto the outside of the right foot. Lifting your left arm up. Staying here or placing the sole of the left foot on the right calf. Lower back your left hand back down. And slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Point your toes, come onto the tops of your feet, and forward and up. And cobra. Lower down, tuck your toes, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. And breathe here. Look past your hands. Bend your knees and walk or hop your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing with your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart and release. Turn and face the side of your mat so you can take a nice wide stance, but have your feet about hip distance apart. So start with your hands on your hips. You want your feet parallel to each other. And press into all four corners of the feet evenly, so press into the big toe mound and the baby toe mound with similar weight distribution. Bend your knees and now sit back. Remember, you don't want your knees out front, you want to be sitting back here. And sit up nice and tall. And breathe. You can bring your palms together at your heart, or keep your hands on your hips. Straighten your left leg out to the side. Keep your right knee bent. Left leg back to center, both knees bent. Straighten your right leg. Left. Right. Just move through here. Whenever your feet are together, both legs are bent. Just breathe. Maybe deepen the squat in the center. Option to add your arms. Couple more steps each side. And last one, come back to center. One more breath. Straighten your legs. And straighten your arms. Interlace your fingers behind your back and reach your knuckles towards the back wall. Open your chest. Knees can be soft. And breathe. Release your hands and come back, feet parallel to each other, hip distance apart. Start with your hands on your hips. Take your left leg and touch the toes behind your right and just bring your left toes out to the side and back to center. Right leg behind and cross over to the left. Back to center and left and right. Come back to center. Now this time bend your knees. Both knees are bent. Whenever the feet are in the middle, whichever foot's in the middle, keep that knee bent. So right leg behind and cross, back to center. Left, right, left, right. Option to add the arms can go with the back leg. Keep moving. You can go as slow as you need, or you can speed it up, or you can add a nice big step in the middle. Take the whole mat if you want, or small step. I call this skater's pose. Couple more times each side. And slow it down. And back to center. Bend your knees. Sit up straight in Utkatasana. And straighten your legs. And straighten your arms. Just switch your weight over each leg, lifting one heel up and then the other. And back to center. And now take a nice wide stance. Feet parallel to each other. An approximate measurement is your wrists would be directly above your ankles with your arms out. And lower your arms. Pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. And still face forward. Bring your arms out to the side. Palms facing forward. Arms and legs stay straight. Reach forward with your right hand. Go as far as you can. And then lower your right arm and let your left arm come up. In Utthita Trikonasana. Extended triangle pose. Slowly come on back up. And lower your arms and bend your right knee. Again, see my right knee is passing my ankle, so if that's the case, just heel toe your left foot back a bit. Take a wider stance. Reach your arms out to the side, palms facing down. Look over your right hand. Coming back to what works for you and what doesn't work. What can you do to serve this pose? Side warrior, Parshvavirabhadrasana. Reach forward with your right hand, let your right forearm hover over your right thigh. As you inhale, reach your left arm up over your head. Staying here, or option to reach the second arm up. Breathe. Lower your right hand to the inside of your right foot and lift your left arm up. Slowly come on back up, straighten your right leg. Pivot on your right heel and bring the toes in, feet are parallel. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, just like the forward fold, and fold forward halfway. Shoulders the same height as the hips. Option to reach your arms out front. Breathe. Lower both hands to the mat, bend your right knee, and walk your hands over to your right foot. Press that left foot into the mat. Walk your hands back to center. Bend your left knee and walk your hands over to your left foot, pressing your right foot into the mat. Back to center. Place your hands on your hips. Come on up to standing. Pivot on your left heel, turn your left toes out. Left foot is now parallel to the length of your mat. Right foot parallel to the short ends of your mat. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Reach forward with your left fingertips. Go as far as you can. Let your left arm come down. Reach your right arm up. And Trikonasana. Slowly come on back up. Lower your arms. Bend your left knee. Again, if your left knee is passing your heel, just widen your stance. Heel toe your right foot back a bit. Bring your arms out to the side and turn and look over your left fingertips. Shoulders in this pose stay directly above the hips. Hips and shoulders roughly parallel to the ground. Reach forward with your left hand, bend your left elbow, forearm lightly resting on your left thigh or hovering, and reach your right arm up over your head. You're aiming for a straight line between that right wrist, shoulder, hip, and ankle. Option to add the second arm. In Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Lower your left hand to the inside of your left foot and reach your right arm up. Draw that right shoulder back. Breathe. And come on back up to standing. Pivot on that left heel. Now stay where you are. We're going to come into pose, but I'm going to turn around so you see what's happening in the back. So pivot on your left heel and turn your left toes out towards the side. Bend your left knee and place your left hand on the mat on the inside of your left foot. Now even here, be mindful that your left knee and foot are pointing in the same direction. Otherwise, adjust your foot so that they are. Bend your left elbow and lower your shoulder below your knee. Lift your right arm up and let your right arm come behind you somewhere near your left hip. If you can, reach behind with your left hand and grab your fingers. Open that right shoulder back. Inbound, side angle pose. Just breathe. One more breath. Release your hands and come on up. Pivot on your left heel and bring your toes in so your feet are parallel. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. And as you exhale, fold forward and place your hands on the mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Place your hands on your hips and come back up to standing. Release your hands and pivot on your right heel, turning your right toes out the other way. Bend your right knee, and with your right hand reach forward and place your right hand on the mat to the inside of the right foot. Again, alignment of the right knee and foot. Keep that in mind. Bend your right elbow and see if you can lower the shoulder below the knee. That gives you a couple of extra inches here for this bind. Reach your left arm up and then let your left hand come behind you, resting somewhere on your left hip. Reach your right hand under, maybe finding fingers open. That left shoulder back so it's stacked over the right. Breathe. Release your hands and come on up to standing. Pivot on that right heel and heel toe the feet together. And now come to the front of your mat. Feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you. As far as it can go, hands on hips. Bend your left knee. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. In Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. You're looking straight ahead. You can maybe deepen the lunge and breathe here. Now look at the floor or wall in front of you and focus on a spot that you can focus your gaze on. Put all the weight in your left foot and just slide the right toes forward so your right foot is just resting gently on the mat. Left knee slightly bent. When you're ready, lift your right toes up off the mat, flex that foot, keeping the straight line between your back leg and torso. Fold forward as your right leg lifts in Warrior 3. And if you come out of it, just try again. Breathe. Come on back up and lower the right foot to beside the left. And now step your left foot straight back behind you. Whoops. Right knee is bent, hands on hips. Reach your arms up over your head. Looking straight ahead in Warrior 1. Place all the weight in your right foot and slide the left toes forward, left toes resting lightly on the mat. Focus your breath, focus your gaze, and remember to breathe. When you're ready, lift your left toes up off the mat, flex that left foot. And as you lean forward with your torso, left foot rises. And if you're having trouble, try again. Breathe. Focus your gaze. Come on back up to standing. And release that foot. And release your arms. We'll come into one more balancing pose. So root down in your right foot and come onto the toes of the left foot, hands on hips. Right knee has a slight bend in it, turn your left knee out to the side. Slide the sole of the left foot to the right ankle, or bring that foot and press it into the calf, or the inner thigh, but avoid the knee. My balance is not happening today. Bring your palms together, or option to reach your arms up over your head. Breathe. And lower your arms and lower the foot. Place the sole of your left foot firmly into the mat. Left knee slightly bent. Come onto the toes of the right foot and turn the right knee out to the side. Bring the sole of the right foot to the left ankle, or press it into the calf, or the inner thigh, but avoid the knee. Bring your palms together. Be sure to breathe. Focus your gaze. If it gets windy where you are, just try again. Allow some softness for the space. And lower your arms and release your foot. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing, lifting your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. Coming to the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you, but pivot on the toes and bring the heel in. So the toes are pointing out at a 45-degree angle. Hands on hips. Turn and face the front of your mat and straighten your left leg. Draw your left hip back. Bring your right hip forward. On an inhale, think about straightening your spine, lifting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, send your hips back, hinge at the hips, lead with your chest and fold. If your left knee starts to bend, just come up a bit. but there's a micro bend in it. You want some muscle engagement in each of the legs and your whole body. Option to stay here, or if you can do so without rounding your back, place your hands on the mat, or if you have blocks, you can place your hands on blocks. Otherwise, just keep your hands on your hips, inviting your body to fold more deeply. One more breath. Come on back up. Bend your left knee and step your right foot forward to meet your left. Release your hands. And now again, feet hip distance apart. Step your left foot straight back behind you. Pivot on the toes and lower the heel in and lower it to the mat. Hands on hips. Right leg is straight, but again, there's a slight bend in it so you can engage the muscles. The knee is not locked. Draw that right hip back, left hip forward. As you exhale, lead with the chest and fold forward, keeping your spine straight. If your back starts to round, come on up a bit. Draw that right hip back a little more. Breathe here. Option to stay here or place your hands on the mat or on blocks. You may find one side is much easier than the other. And breathe in Parsvattanasana, pyramid pose. Slowly come on back up. Bend your right knee and step your left foot forward to meet your right. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart and release. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Knees are slightly soft, and as you exhale, lead with your chest and fold forward. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhaling, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. Let the weight of your head and your torso gently sink towards the mat. Placing both hands on the mat, spread your fingers wide, wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. Step back to plank. All right, we're coming back to where we started. Breathe here. Even here, reflect on the traits you want to strengthen or let go of. Can you do so in this pose? With control, keeping your elbows close to your rib cage, lower down to the mat. Point your toes, coming onto the tops of your feet. Hands lightly on the mat. Send your chest forward and up. Breathe. And lower down. Reach your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Reach your knuckles back as you open your chest. Come forward and up. Breathe here. And lower back down. Place both hands on the mat. Under your shoulders, tuck your toes. And lift your whole body up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Nice straight line between your wrists, shoulders, and hips. Bending your knees if you need to. Maybe straightening legs. Offering the heels in the direction of the mat. Don't worry about it if they touch or not. And look past your hands. And walk your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. Turn and face the side and take a nice wide stance. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Feet are flat on the mat, feet parallel to each other. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, leading with the chest, fold forward. Don't worry about how far you go. If your hands do not touch the mat, you can cross your arms and let your elbows dangle. Or if you have blocks, you can place your hands on the blocks. Just breathe. Bend your left knee and walk your hands over to your left foot. Press that right foot into the mat. Come on back to center. Bend your right knee and press your left foot deep into the mat. Back to center. Heel toe your feet together and make your way to a seated position. And straighten your legs out in a V shape. And reach behind your thighs and your inner thighs and just pull the flesh away so you're internally rotating your thighs. Keep your knees flat on the mat, toes pointed straight towards the ceiling. So if they're sticking out or in, just have them straight up. Start with your hands on the mat behind you. And pushing with your hands, pushing back with your hands, send your chest forward. Keep pressing your knees into the mat. Breathe. If it's available to you, walk your hands forward, either in front, or you can grab your ankles or feet, or just walk your hands forward. And breathe. And slowly come on back. Bend your left knee and bring the sole of your left foot to your right thigh. Reach your left hand, place it on the mat behind your left hip, roll onto the left knee, lift your hips right up off the mat and reach your right arm up and back. And breathe. Slowly lower your hips to the mat. Bend your right knee and bring the soles of your feet together. And here you can start with your hands behind you. Keep a nice straight spine, hinging at the hips, send your chest forward. Either staying here or reaching and grabbing your ankles or your shins. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, you can use your elbows to push your knees open a little wider. Just breathe. Come on back up, straighten your left leg, bring the sole of your right foot near your left inner thigh. With your right hand, place it on that mat behind your right hip. Roll onto your right knee, lift your hips up, and straighten your left arm up and over your head. And slowly lower your hips back down. Bend both knees. Feet flat on the mat, knees bent. Come onto your back. Arms can rest in a T position or wherever you're comfortable. Straighten your left leg on the mat and lift your right leg up in the air. With control, at the count of 5, we will lower your right heel almost to the mat, but before it's touching. So begin. 5, lowering the right leg. 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1, back down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. And lower your right leg to the mat and straighten your left leg up in the air. Keep that left foot flexed and begin lowering your left foot almost to the mat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up, 4, 3, 2, 1, last time, down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently bend both knees, hugging them to your chest, and rock side to side. Now hug your right knee into your chest and straighten your left leg into the mat. And switch sides, hugging your left knee, straighten your right leg. And then bending both legs, lower the feet to the mat. Bring your arms out in a T position. Slide your hips over to the left and let your knees roll to the right. And turn your gaze and look at your left arm. Breathe. And let go. Gently bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips over to the right and let your knees roll to the left. Turn and look over your right hand. Breathe. Gently bring your knees back to center. And straighten your legs and straighten your arms up over your head. Give yourself a full body stretch, straightening each leg, stretching each arm. And the next pose is Shavasana. So if you wish to get an eye pillow or a sweater or a blanket, do so. When you're ready, gently rest your arms by your side, palms facing up. Let the weight of your body settle into the mat. You can stay in Shavasana, or if you wish, I'll be in a seated position. And you can sit quietly for a couple of minutes if you prefer. However you've whatever you've chosen for Shavasana, settle into that position. Let go. Coming into stillness. If thoughts come into your mind, just release them and let go. Softly allow your breath to deepen. Gently bring awareness to your fingers, your toes, gently moving your arms and legs. Maybe stretching your arms up over your head. Give yourself a full body stretch. And when you're ready, slowly roll over to your right side. And make your way up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.